I would like to talk about the Boomerang product. And this is a type of product that solves some problem for people, only to make the problem worse in the long run, like way down the road, or maybe even a little bit down the road, so that you have to go back to the product to solve it again, which makes the product worse, and it leads to this upward spiral that is essentially like addiction to the product. But this product actually is a really great product from a financial standpoint, because whoever invents a Boomerang product is going to get really rich by solving people's problems and addicting them to long-term use of the product. Now, when I first came up with this idea, I was calling it the Altoid effect. So let me explain why, and I actually made another video that I had to take down because I realized I was criticizing a product that I had no evidence had this problem. But when I was in college, I remember visiting my brother one time, and I'd just gotten into Altoids, which are these chalky mints. And I would give him an Altoid, and it tastes great. It's minty in your mouth. It's a good experience to have an Altoid. But I noticed that trip he had bad breath in a way that he never had before. So, like an hour after I gave him the Altoid, it's like I could smell his breath and I'm like, you need another Altoid. And we kind of talked about it and we were like, wait a second. What if the inventor of this product figured out how to make something taste minty and taste like it was freshening your mouth, but actually have it give you bad breath half an hour after you've finished it, so that you have to go back to the product for another. And I have no evidence one way or another if Altoids are actually like that. I haven't done a controlled experiment, so I can't really say anything about Altoids, but the idea I think is brilliant. And I teach healthcare economics, and this is one thing that I'm quite concerned about in healthcare economics, is that there's an incentive to create medical products that have this property, that solve the problem for the patient in the short run by alleviating symptoms, but actually make the problem worse either directly in some way or else just by alleviating the symptoms now so that you don't have to go to the doctor or you don't have to do the hard work of changing your lifestyle to fix the underlying cause of the problem. And I think this fits in the category of Boomerang products where you show up, you get the product, it tosses away your problem so that your problem's no longer there, which feels great immediately after you've consumed the product. But that problem comes boomeranging back at you at an even faster pace. That's why I'm calling it the Boomerang product. Now, this is a huge problem economically because it means that as we move forward and as more and more inventions come into place, the inventions that will last the longest, the inventions that will take over society, are the ones that have this property. And that's going to make society less healthy in the long run. Now, since I talk a lot about social media on this channel, I can't help making this commentary that I think social media oftentimes is a kind of Boomerang product, in the sense that you want belonging, you want social engagement, you want attention, you want validation. And for all of those things, a lot of times when you crave those immediately, you go online to get a little fix of them. But they give you all of these things in ways that are kind of vapid. It's not real attention. It's not real social engagement in the same exact way that real social engagement with friends is. It's not real validation. It's just an upvote or a like, which is not the same type of validation as seeing someone's face in their eyes and seeing that they really value you by being around you. So by being so vapid, these fixes to our social ills in the online space, they fix it immediately and give us immediate relief. But they make that problem worse in the long run. And just like with medical products, this is something where it can either directly make that worse, and let me tell you in a minute a few mechanisms I think it uses for doing that, or it can make the social isolation thing worse just because it gives you this quick fix whenever you need it, so that you don't have to actually go out and do the hard work of finding new friends, making new friends, finding a social community that inherently involves conflict and working through differences and working through different perspectives. Communities are not all fun and games. They're just grounded and healthy and good, as long as you're willing to stick through some of the ups and downs that are natural to communities. And by giving us that quick fix that's symptom alleviating without addressing the underlying cause of isolation or loneliness or whatnot, social media, I think, is a boomerang product. Now, I think social media has also figured out some direct ways of making the problem of social isolation worse. And one example I have of this is I've noticed a rise in sort of looking down at people, like, ugh, those people. And I think when you do that, that sort of contempt, which I think contempt is a huge problem nowadays, but expressing contempt at those people who are so much worse than you, it feeds the insecurity mechanisms inside you in the moment. Like, you feel less insecure immediately when you're looking down at those people. But there's something about doing that a lot where you start to interpret everybody else around you as doing that constantly too. So you think people are looking down their nose at you for things you're insecure about, when they're really not, just because you're projecting your own habits onto what's going on in their mind. So I think that kind of mechanism is actually part of the boomerang product feature of social media. And it absolutely serves economic purposes really well. But I'm really worried about this boomerang product thing getting really efficient with the social media algorithms and artificial intelligence that can go out and figure out what works best. My guess is it can actually discover the boomerang products of hacking the human mind. So that's one of the things I'm worried about.